The third conference we've pulled out of the hat is the Big 12, which, as the name suggests, consists of 12 big teams. Hang on, but I've only got 10 here. Have I mixed it up with the Big 10? What? The Big 10 has 14 teams? See, that's why you shouldn't name your conference after the number of teams you have. Pac-12 is true to its word. For now. Anyway, let's just get into the stadiums. We start off with Amon G. Carter Stadium, home to the TCU Horned Frogs. Although this stadium did open in 1930, most of it was demolished in 2010, and only the lower bowl was retained. So what you see is a fairly new stadium, and an absolute beauty in my view. It has a lovely brick exterior, but it's buff brick, which is a lighter shade than what you would usually see on a college stadium. And it's even better on the inside, with a huge 3-tiered stand on the western side, and there's even a little bit of covered seating on the east. Bill Snyder Family Football Stadium, home to the Kansas State Wildcats. If the last one's exterior wasn't interesting enough for you, how about a limestone castle? Actually, a castle-like exterior is surprisingly common in college football. On the inside, it's fresh off a major renovation. Well, it might still be ongoing, but when it's done, it will look like this. It's just one of many stadiums in this conference that have recently been renovated / currently undergoing renovations. Boone Pickens Stadium, home to the Oklahoma State Cowboys. It's named after the late T. Boone Pickens, a wealthy donor. You mightn't like a stadium being named after a rich guy, but it's completely understandable. He donated over $500 million to his old school over the years. That is mind-boggling. This stadium is vaguely reminiscent of Lambeau Field, with the end cut off. The end that is cut off, the east end zone, which sounds strange to say because usually the field is orientated the other way, is overshadowed by the school's basketball arena, which gives the stadium a bit of a unique look. Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium, home to the Texas Longhorns. Just like last week's video, the saying "everything's bigger in Texas" rings true, because just like Kyle Field of the SEC, this stadium is the biggest in the conference. And just like Kyle Field, it has a nice brick exterior. It's quite incredible that it has a capacity of over 100,000, given that the south end zone has hardly any seating. However, it is currently undergoing a major renovation that will fully enclose the field. It will also mean the replacement of the iconic Godzillatron video board. The renderings look incredible and it's expected to be completed this year, but the capacity won't actually increase significantly. David Booth Kansas Memorial Stadium, home to the Kansas Jayhawks. A stadium that is 100 years old this year, fittingly has a very classical style exterior, the northern end at least. It has a facade similar to that of Harvard Stadium, or the old facade of Soldier Field. It's just a little less grandiose. You may have noticed that the stadium has a rounded shape at both ends. That's because for the longest time it had a running track around the field. It was only removed in 2014 after a purpose-built athletic stadium was built. Other than that, the stadium is quite simple, but good. Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium, home to the Oklahoma Sooners. Now, I know what you're thinking. What's with the name? But don't be so immature. There's nothing funny about the name Oklahoma Sooners. I don't know what a Sooner is, but I'll find out sooner rather than later. It's yet another college stadium with a wraparound brick facade, although it's a little bit of a darker brick, in keeping with the campus's aesthetic. The grand facade is befitting of the stadium's nickname, the Palace on the Prairie. The south end zone was renovated in 2016 and now looks like this. It really does make the stadium look so much better. It turns out Sooners is the name given to the settlers who entered the unassigned lands in what is now the state of Oklahoma, before the official start of the land rush in 1889. Jack Trice Stadium, home to the Iowa State Cyclones. Unlike the last one, it's not named after a wealthy family, but something much more meaningful. It was named after the Cyclones' first ever African American athlete, who was sadly the first Cyclones athlete to die from injuries sustained during competition, in controversial circumstances. The stadium itself has a fairly unique design compared to the ones we've seen in this conference so far. The way the field is sunken into the landscaped earth means there's very little exterior to speak of. It's quite a nice design actually. I particularly like the south end zone. It's looking sharp. Jones AT&T Stadium, home to the Texas Tech Red Raiders. On first impressions, you might think, it's just another college football stadium, nothing special. But by far the most extraordinary feature of the stadium is the extravagant Spanish Renaissance-inspired facade. It looks absolutely incredible. On the inside, it's a little less extravagant, although a lot of the bleachers have been replaced with more ergonomic tip-up seats since these shots were taken. I like that they have that small section of grass behind one end zone with the Double T logo. But behind the other end zone is the real deal, the iconic Double T scoreboard, that despite lacking in technology has lasted since 1978. McLane Stadium, home to the Baylor Bears. As with many typical college stadiums, McLane Stadium is in the shape of a horseshoe, and has plenty of brick on the exterior. But that's where the comparisons stop because this place is far from typical, especially the wraparound roof canopy that shades some of the seats. It also helps keep the noise inside the stadium. The open end features a grassy hill as well as a huge video board. Combine that with the backdrop of the Brazos River makes for a view worthy of a postcard. Speaking of the river, just like Neyland Stadium in last week's video and Heinz Field the week before, fans can arrive to the game by boat. This has to be one of the most extraordinary college stadiums going around, all things considered. Milan Posca Stadium, home to West Virginia, is... I don't know if you could tell, but that isn't the original song. That was actually me saying ears, to make it sound like Mountaineers instead of Mountain Mama. It was seamless, I know. And I do believe they pump that song through the speakers every game. Not my remix, the original. To the stadium now, the design was based off Jack Trice Stadium. In particular, the way the field is sunken into the ground, so only the upper decks are above ground. But renovations and expansions that have occurred since it was built have distinguished the two stadiums from each other significantly. But yeah, I like it. It seems like a nice leafy area as well, but I guess that could be said for most of West Virginia. And those were the big 12 college football stadiums. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, have a good one.